I'm backing up a little bit. But the one thing I had a question on was, so you have the Odyssey House, which is a bigger organization. That's a bigger program, right? And then I'm going to assume, based on the way you were kind of talking about it, it was the Sober Living Voucher. So is that kind of a supplemental that would come after the Odyssey House?
So while you are in residential treatment, and it does not have to be just Odyssey House, you take a class called Fair Credit, which just by itself is ingenious, right? So while you're in the house, you take a couple of classes that teach you how to save money, right? What debt looks like, how you can start planning to be financially responsible, especially if you have had substance misuse in your history. We don't know how to save. I don't know how to save money. I have never known how to any of
You
that.
do now.
I do now. I've been able to buy a vehicle. But that's been a process, right? So you take a couple classes while you're in residential. By taking those classes, those are the requirements for getting the voucher. The first 3 months of the voucher is completely free. I think the greatest thing that Odyssey did for me was set me up for success afterwards, right? Because I went to so many other treatment programs and I went right back into the same situation, whether that was the streets, whether that was a toxic relationship, whether that was like couch surfing, right? I was super excited while I was in Odyssey because I knew I was going to Sober Living. I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to freak out that I don't even know how to take the bus. I don't have bus money. You get a bus pass. You have your EBT, your food stamps card. So the first couple of months, you can get out and just adjust to no longer being completely supervised the entire time. And that's a huge adjustment for a lot of people.
Right.
Especially Odyssey House, there's a lot of people. 60 to 80 people, so you're used to being surrounded by a crowd. All of a sudden, you're in your own room at your own house, and it goes from being 60 miles on the freeway to just cold stop. And that's a really big adjustment. So for me, I was really excited to have that transition period. The next 3 months after the first free ones, you pay 30% of your income. At the time I was working at higher, so 30% of my income was like $100, $200, right? And that still allowed me to start squirreling away some money so that I could plan for a future. And then once I graduated the Odyssey program and I was off the voucher, I was offered an opportunity to be a house manager for Steps Recovery.
So they kind of connect you, like when you're going through the program or as you're approaching the end of the program, they're trying to find ways to keep you
all the things
around pro-social people, trying to find opportunities for you. So that's really cool to hear.
And it's not just Odyssey House, like First Step, House of Hope, Odyssey House. There's a number of treatment centers that all utilize this voucher.
Right. Huh.
I think I really enjoyed the fact that it was kind of a step down program too, right? So that way it didn't stop all the way, but it was the simple things that I was worried about. Like I had been in treatment for almost a year at that point. I didn't remember how to use a cell phone. I wasn't great with computers, but everything is baby steps, right? So even just handing me a bus pass where you can't do anything stupid with that. I guess, okay. Backtrack. So if you want to do something stupid, you can make it happen. It doesn't matter what tools you have. But it was just one of the concerns I had. I had a lot of anxiety. How am I going to get to my UAs? How am I going to get to group? And just being presented with a bus pass, right? Just the ability to be mobile and be self-sufficient was really empowering for me, and that allowed me to kind of just take off and move forward in a direction I was really excited about.
That's super cool. I liked what you were saying earlier about the Odyssey House, about the way that it helped you address these things that you shouldn't be doing. Or you may or may not know that you shouldn't be doing them, but they're working for you, right? Like that's something that I think people in the general public don't realize a lot of the time is everyone does this. Everyone has things that are detrimental to your mental, physical health, your well-being, but they're shortcuts and they work. And so that reinforces that you should keep doing it.
Absolutely.
It's like it's working, so I have to keep doing it, because trying out something else or getting outside of that box is scary. And so that's cool that it's just good to hear that there are people working on modeling good behaviors in that way and trying to find trying to help you recognize oh, I'm doing that and it's actually detrimental. Even though it's working, it's actually detrimental.
Well, and if I think about how I was raised, right? Like you don't air your dirty laundry, you don't talk about things. And that was my household, right? We didn't talk about our feelings.
Right.
And I also learned to be what I thought was empathetic, because my father was an alcoholic. So it was almost my job to interpret if he was mad, right? Or if he was, sad, because I had to be prepared for what was coming, so that me thinking I'm empathic. No, I was just trying to predict his behavior so I could stay safe. I also knew that it was not safe to voice my own emotions. So getting past that and starting to trust your environment and learn that it's okay for me to verbalize what I'm feeling, but also learning how to verbalize what I'm feeling, even identifying feelings is very difficult. And what I kind of discovered, that the people that I know that have graduated Odyssey or graduated a program, a really intense program, their ability to tell you what they're feeling is incredible. There's so many people in our world that they can't express to you what they're feeling. They know they're stressed, right? They know that they have a headache, but they don't actually know what's going on deeper. I've got a little bit of work stress. I'm also worried when I go home that I'm going to see my daughter sad. There's a lot of things that go into that, and just being able to tell you what I feel is incredibly empowering, because then I can address it, right? In the past, all I knew was that something was happening in here, right? There's something going on in my chest. It didn't feel good, and I wanted it to stop. That could have been any number of emotions, right? A big part of what Odyssey does is it teaches you how to establish, how to identify what you're feeling, how to verbalize it or write it down, and then move forward. If you can't tell me what you're feeling, we can't get past it, right?
If you'd like that clip and would like to watch another one, click right here. If you'd like to watch the whole video, click right here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.